Well, good Monday morning. A rare update for you guys. Normally I don't do these in the early morning, but I want to put it out before you start your day. If you missed the video that I put out last night around 10 o'clock, I said, look, the models have shifted further south. I'm buying into this now. It took a while, and once I saw the 0Z run, I was in. And I think the National Weather Service also feeling that. We now have winter storm watches out for the New York City metro area. Take a look. This is actually the early morning NAM run. I don't put a lot of faith. It'll be interesting to watch the 0Z or the 12Z run that comes out later today. But look, this is dramatically further to the south. It keeps the snow out of northern parts of Ohio. In fact, if you look back here, it barely puts it out of West Virginia. A further south track also keeps it more towards central Pennsylvania versus northern Pennsylvania, and it pretty much keeps it out of New York State, at least western New York. Now, don't confuse this. No. I guess I should say it keeps it out of western New York, but for southern New York, here toward New York City, if anything, it pushes it further to the south. So now it looks more like a Long Island, New York City, Newark snowstorm. Much more so than it did yesterday. And it's hard for me to ignore the model data. I'm not going to stick to my guns just because I want to stick to it. If I see facts that are changing and these facts are being based on model data that's coming in, I'm not going to swing with every model run. But the trend here that I'm seeing, and not just that, multiple short-range models are showing a further shift to the south. With that said, my confidence is growing here for a New York City snowstorm, 5 to 10 inches. And what's interesting is once this goes by, look at the rain. This cold is going to be dynamically driven by the storm itself. Boston, I still think you get the snow. Southern Connecticut, you're in the game now all the way to the coast. Still snow into Massachusetts, although it may be shifted a bit further to the south. So the closer you are to that Connecticut border, the better chances you have of seeing the heavier band of snow. And Rhode Island, I think you're still in the game, and even out towards the Cape, looks like we're in the game too for some heavy snow. The HRRR, this is the latest model of it, and then we're going to look at the updated watches and warnings that have happened as a result of some of this new data that's come in. The HRRR showing the mixing here, and I think this is something that will potentially bust things for New York City. Even over toward Newark and further south. Do we see enough influence from the ocean here at the onset with that easterly flow? That boundary layer may take a little while to cool down, so we may start with some rain-snow mix, and then once the low moves to the east, then we pop over to snow. But the HRRR trying to keep it a mix a little bit longer. Clearly the NAM, much colder. So there's your questions. However, in forecasting, a lot of it is based on confidence at this point. And I think confidence is definitely growing, and we're seeing that in multiple ways because look now, New York City all the way to Long Island under winter storm watches at this point. Pink means warnings. So warnings are much more confident. That confidence has grown to a point that warning criteria snow will be reached. That includes Morristown, Allentown, Scranton, Pennsylvania, Williamsport State College, Harrisburg, still close to that line, but I think with a south trend, you're likely going to be upgraded. I can't say that. Weather.gov is where you need to go to get the latest upgrades and warnings. So check that out. Watch it today. Hit refresh. It may be toward the midday run before you see an update from the National Weather Service. And then also back to the south and west, what's interesting too now across western Maryland. So from Cumberland back across the western counties of Maryland, even into the eastern mountains of West Virginia, winter weather advisories up here, not quite over to Martinsburg, but still winter storm watches off just to the north. And keep an eye on this, southern Pennsylvania and Maryland. Winter weather advisory is also out for northern Kentucky, southern Indiana, but with more of a southerly track across southern Indiana. I think there's a high bust potential here. And I tell you, as this piece of energy moves across the Tennessee Valley, if you are in the Tennessee Valley, you could get a surprise snow as we see this cold pocket of air move across overnight. Another problem with this system too is severe weather across the south. We're not done with the snow, so hold on. I just want to show you guys this because today that severe threat definitely increasing from Alabama, Georgia into South Carolina. The potential for some severe thunderstorms. Not only that, but maybe even a few tornadoes. So be weather aware today across the south. Here's the overnight run of the European. Look at this. It's dropping a little bit of snow down toward Nashville. I don't know that we see much accumulation out of this in the Cumberland Plateau of Tennessee and Kentucky, and the cold air tries to catch it before it leaves parts of West Virginia, even far southeastern Ohio. Couple of inches possible here, but the heaviest snow yet off to the north. The European also trended with that further south track, putting the heaviest snow axis probably about 50 to 75 miles further to the south than what we were looking at yesterday if you were tuning into these videos. And then as we move into the day Tuesday, the system moves offshore pretty quickly. A quick look at the snow outputs. Here's the NAM model. It's trying to show some higher amounts here across Kentucky and Tennessee. Some areas could see 2, 3, 4 inches of snow, but keep in mind, these models don't do a great job of picking up on things like the warm ground. I mean, it's been pretty mild lately, so there will be some melting on contact. Elevated surfaces, though, will likely see some snow. If it falls hard enough, you're going to get some accumulation, but look at the big totals. The NAM is much further to the south, putting New York City almost right dead center of this latest run. A closer look into the northeast. Do you see why they've got winter storm warnings now up for western Maryland, back here across eastern West Virginia? And then, you know, again, I would watch this area here. I thought southeast Pennsylvania was out of the game, but with this further south track that we've seen on the NAM, I'm not so sure. I'm going to go back and show you the 0Z run of the NAM. It was a little bit further to the north. I trust this run more than I do the 6Z. The 0Z run has more data input at initialization when it starts, so usually it's a little more accurate just in that regard. The 12Z that comes out around 9:30 to 10 Eastern, well, I'd put more weight behind it than the newest NAM that came out this morning. But just to compare, here's the HRRR. It kind of looks like last night's 0Z NAM run, right? A little bit further to the north. But again, if you're in northern Maryland, if you're in Philadelphia, it's going to be so close, but the confidence is increasing from Long Island to New York, where those winter storm watches have been issued. Here's a look at those winter storm watches. Let's go into New York City because that's where we've seen the big change overnight. Newark to New York, all the way out to the tip of Long Island, now under winter storm watches. Winter storm warnings now extend all the way down into central New Jersey. Mount Holly feeling confident enough to upgrade these areas, and I think we still get thumped across northern New Jersey. Somebody here gets a foot plus in my mind. And then look just to the south towards Trenton. Winter weather advisories for now. The Philadelphia Metro not under any type of warning or advisory at this point. But if I'm here, I'm going to watch it all day, again, based on that data that we've seen. I think the National Weather Service will have a very good handle on what's going to happen once we head toward the evening hours as far as their warnings go. But without a doubt, my thoughts have shifted further to the south based on this data. Very similar to the video I put out last night around 10 o'clock Eastern. So if you'd like to check that out, you can do it right here. Here's that video. I'll have another video update tonight coming out. So we'll hope to see you then. If you've not subscribed, love to have you be a part. Thanks. See ya.